Okay, very good day to everyone. My name is Christopher Ng Chung. I'm the Early Retirement Masterclass Trainer, and today I'll be completing my series on the death of the Singapore Dream. All right, and we'll be talking about how to actually find a way to live the new Singapore Dream. Okay, all right, let's have a revision on what we have done so far. And basically, we've completed 5 videos on the death of the Singapore Dream. On part 1, we've basically covered conventional retirement and why conventional retirement is inadequate to meet the aspirations of most Singaporeans. On part 2, we talked about how the financially independent and retire early movement can possibly become a new aspiration for Singaporeans. On part 3, we've covered a core portfolio. How do we build a portfolio using a minimal number of low-cost exchange-traded funds? Part 4, we've covered dividend stocks and how it can be used to complement your core portfolio. And finally, part 5 is where we talk about using a satellite portfolio of growth stocks to complement your main core portfolio. Now, in this final installation, we will come up with some concrete plans, all right, to get your new Singapore Dream started, all right? And exactly what we're going to do is that we will be talking about increasing your earnings, managing your expenses, building emergency savings, opening a brokerage account, starting DIY investing, building your CPF savings, advancing your knowledge, and of course, finally, enjoying your journey, all right? And we're going to move on now to increasing your earnings. All right. Now, as a lot of people listening to me might be in the earlier part of your career, right? You will realize that actually it is a lot more productive to start working on increasing your earnings first as compared to savings or investing your money, right? The reason is because if you are just starting out with a $30,000 annual salary, getting a 10% increment when you switch jobs is a whopping $3,000 difference in your life. However, if you focus on your investments and you get a 2% extra returns, which is actually quite hard in the world of finance, even if you have a portfolio of $100,000 in your brokerage account, the difference is only $2,000 at the end of the year. So you might want to consider increasing your earnings, right, as a primary way of increasing the amount of wealth that you have. And some of the ideas I have include job hopping, negotiating a raise, getting a side hustle if you have a hobby that can be monetized, or if you really have no idea on what to do with your life, why don't you pick up a new skill like public speaking, right? And I benefited greatly from 10 years of public speaking with the Toastmasters movement. And so I think this is something which you can seriously consider, right, as you begin your new journey towards the financial independence movement, right? Now, the next thing that you want to move into is to manage your expenses. And once you've managed to optimize the amount of income that you have, it is time to optimize your expenses. And the best advice I have is not to begin controlling your expenses immediately because you have to live. What you can do is that you can simply track your expenses in a non-judgmental way. Now, the method I do this is to use an SAF notebook. Okay, this is what recruits in the army use to take down technical details on the field. Okay, and you can use this to just write down your expenses over 1 month, and you can find out how much you spend every month and where do you tend to spend your money on. All right. Now, if you have information on your daily expenses, I would say that half your battle is won when it comes to managing your expenses, right? And what you can do is that you can comb through your expenses and find out what expenses are actually worthwhile and suits your personality. Like, for example, if you're an extrovert, extroverts actually are better off and they are happier paying for entertainment. So if you're an extrovert who's gone for the latest Billie Eilish concert, for example, I think there is a certain amount of confidence that it is money well spent, right? But the same cannot be said for introverts. So if you're introvert and you get dragged by your extroverted friend to listen to a musical concert, right? You might not be happy doing that, right? Given that you can also get the same songs on Spotify, right? But for introverts, you will find that they actually love buying books and they love collecting cute stationery, all right? Important thing is make sure that when you spend your money on something, it is consistent with your personality and it makes you happy, okay? Now, with your job, your income, and your expenses being kept under control, you should have a sizable amount of money to be put into your investment portfolio on a monthly basis. But let's not do that so soon, all right? What we should do is let's begin to build emergency savings first. So with an understanding of your monthly expenses, it is time to spend an equivalent, all right, to save an equivalent amount to 3 months of living expenses in your bank account. And you should go for something like this first, so that if there's any emergency, right, you have enough money to cover your own personal expenses for 3 months, all right? So if you spend $2,000 a month, just set $6,000 aside on a high yielding deposit like DPS Multiplier, UOB One, or OCBC 360. For the people who are older like myself, who has concerns holding on to a job, right, you might want to consider a fund being set aside in case of retrenchment. And a very safe way of preparing such a fund is to basically take your annual salary and you divide by $10,000. So if you earn $120,000 a year, you might want to prepare for a 12-month job search. So you should have 12 months worth of living expenses in your bank account somewhere, all right, in case something were to go wrong. All right. Okay, and so basically by now we've found a way to basically control our career, control our expenses, and we've got a certain fund set aside for emergency savings. All right, let's look at what we can do to start building an infrastructure for DIY investing. All right, and what you can do is now open a brokerage account, and any account is fine. I put Interactive Brokers here because this is the brokerage that I use, okay? But I think the important thing is choose any broker that allows you to buy stocks in Singapore or an exchange-traded fund in the US or the UK markets, right? So prior to signing up for a broker, make sure that you have a working SingPass account and internet access to your local banking account, an email account, PDF copies of your latest bank account statement, okay? Go to the broker website to sign up, okay? Now, once you sign up, begin testing by sending funds from your local bank internet banking account to the brokerage account. All right. When you're comfortable sending money to and fro, then you are basically safe to move on to the next step, all right, which is to actually begin DIY investing. Now, the other videos in my series would explain what to buy and what kind of portfolio to build. But generally speaking, for the details, you may want to log onto a broker during US market hours, buy small amounts of about $500 each of the equity and the bond exchange traded fund in equal shares, right, like the VT and BNDW bonds. All right, if you're getting an ETF from the US market, some brokers will let you buy either with singular individual shares, 5 shares of Vanguard. Okay, some brokers may even allow you to buy fractional shares. Okay, you can use that to just keep your investments to a nice round number like $500. Okay, and very importantly for beginners, all right, use limit orders to make your purchases and do not use market orders. All right, market orders are for people who really know what they're doing, and what you want to do when you make a limit order is to make sure that you don't spend more, okay, than how much you have budgeted, all right, for the particular purchase of a stock. Okay, so these are the tips I have for DIY investing. All right, now beyond the ability to actually do DIY investing to start creating a core portfolio of ETFs, right? Singaporeans also have access to our Central Provident Fund, right? And you should also put some effort to build up your CPF savings, right, while you are going through this FIRE journey, okay? And so when you build up this CPF savings, what you want to do is that you want to secure a larger retirement account when you hit 65 years old. And that's when CPF Life will begin to give you a fixed monthly amount. All right. Now, in order to build up your CPF savings very quickly, you should take advantage of the CPF special account that gives you a higher return at 4% compared to the 2.5% for CPF ordinary account. All right. So there are two ways of doing this. You can transfer your funds from your CPF ordinary account to your special account, but this is irreversible, so the money cannot be used for housing. Alternatively, you can actually put on some cash, right, from your salary and your bonuses, and you can put up to $8,000 every year into your CPF special account through a process that follows the retirement sum top-up scheme, right? If you do that, it will reduce the accessible tax income when they actually calculate the taxes that you have to pay the following year. All right. Now, securing your full retirement sum in your CPF SA account earlier in life means that where there are future increases to the full retirement sum, the interest rate from CPF would be able to offset all these increases. So when you build up your CPF cash savings to your full retirement sum, okay, basically means that once you do that, you will be able to secure it until you hit 65 years old. All right, so you don't have to worry about finding a job to just try to keep the money to be the same as the full retirement sum as it gets revised on an annual basis. All right, so here's something you need to think about when you're looking at your CPF savings. And this is something which is actually very practical for people who are looking to coast fire. That means have a system to complete your retirement planning earlier in your life, so that for the rest of your working career, you do not have to do retirement planning. So one approach is to get a full retirement sum maybe before you are 35 years old. And then from 35 years old to 65 years old, you live as per normal. You don't have to do retirement planning because you have already secured the FRS in your special account. All right. There are some people who apply this method of coast fire and they are totally happy with it. All right. All right. So with a CPF and your personal portfolio being built, all right, you're on your way to living the new Singapore dream. Okay. If you want to advance yourself even more, why not consider advancing your knowledge in personal finance? All right. Now, finance is a highly dynamic field. All right. And if you can get this far with my 6 videos, the next thing you might want to consider doing is to get a really solid grounding in investing. Okay. So you can read finance books like the one I have here called The Conceptual Foundations of Investing by the Cornells. Right. You can upgrade your finance qualifications like I did. I got a master's degree in finance and I've got the CFA. And of course, you can consider investment courses where practitioners like myself will happily show you how to grow your portfolio even faster. All right. Yeah. And of course, after you advance your knowledge, the next thing you want to do right now is to simply enjoy your journey. All right. Now, one thing we need to understand is that if you want to complete your FIRE journey, right, there is a particular target that you need to save. And that's either 25 times your annual expenses or 300 times your monthly expenses. And this can be extremely daunting for people that, for example, might not have the academic credentials to hold a professional job. And furthermore, even for professionals, because life happens, it is possible that you're unable to achieve this financial goal even as you reach retirement age, right? But I just like to sound a note of encouragement in that the only important thing is not to finish your journey, but to actually begin your journey. If you can get an improvement of your cash flow by as low as $100 a month, right, that will be a significant increase in your standard of living. All right, so remember this. If you want to get into this new journey to live the new Singapore dream, you are a big winner if you actually get started on it. All right. And so we've come basically to the end of this series on living the Singapore dream. The new Singapore dream is not an easy journey. You have to increase your salary, manage your savings, deploy your capital at a level that is slightly better than your peers. All right. You need to build a DIY trading infrastructure. You want to defray your investment costs and then find a way to track your performance. Now, in order to achieve total financial independence, you need 300 times your monthly expenses to be able to live off your investment returns. And to further secure your financial retirement, you have to manage your CPF. And one way of doing that is to find a way to get your full retirement sum, all right, at about $192,000 in your CPF special account, right? And the earlier you get that, the more secure your retirement is going to be, all right, at age 65, okay? And as you begin to see the fruits of your labor from taking these small, simple steps, then you should deploy some effort into improving your financial knowledge so that as times change and there are more asset classes in the future, you will be able to keep yourselves updated. All right. Now, we will definitely be with you in your journey, all right, for Dr. Wealth. Now, if you're interested in buying my books, they are available on Amazon.com on the Kindle platform. The search string is the Singapore Prosperity Series, all right. But more importantly, if you want to learn a systematic approach to FIRE, my early retirement masterclass is data-driven, all right, and it basically covers very concrete steps on how to become financially independent via a secondary income stream, right? To come for my preview on the early retirement masterclass, Google ERM intro, take the first link, all right, and I hope to see you on my preview, all right? And it has been fun creating this set of videos for you, all right, as I talk about the new Singapore dream. All right, in the next series, I will be discussing some of the really bare minimum fundamentals of investing. All right, the hope is that there will be online a series of video lectures that cover everything that has been missing in the educational system. All right, I hope to see you in my next series. Thank you and goodbye.